Hey, Jack. All right. You got this stuff?
Yeah, all cleaned and oiled.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Live from Springfield, Missouri, the one, the only, P1 Green. Bring it. Do it. Hit it.
Excuse me, can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Good Thursday morning to everybody. And starting with my good buddy Martin. Good Thursday morning, Martin.
Good Thursday morning for you, my friend, and for our lovely audience.
Well, this is the first show that I'm doing within the month of March. And for those in the know, the month of March is really important for the Star Trek IP. During the filming of the original series, the month of March was their big celebration month because a majority of the people that were working on the show had their birthdays in March. Not everybody, but a majority of the people that worked on the show. Okay, I'm talking about crew. I'm talking about, of everybody that worked on the show, the crew, the cast, everybody, a majority of the birthdays were in March. So March was always that month that when it rolled around, there was nothing but just parties and cakes and everything else. Okay. So what I've started doing is just celebrating the month of March as the unofficial Star Trek month. Celebrating Gene Roddenberry's accomplishments and the accomplishments of everyone that worked on the show and on and so forth. Hello, Penny. Hello, Gap After Dark. Wow. Dragon Roos. Connie Clary. Hello to you, Connie. And let's see who else is here. That's about it for right now. Hopefully everybody's out there digging what we're doing. Like, share, subscribe, put it out there, and a healthy hello to everybody on Rumble. Yes. Well, by now everybody has heard the story about Warner Brothers and their interest in Star Trek. And I'm telling you right now, we will definitely cover that. But first, we're going to handle some news. First up will be the upcoming, it was announced the date for the premiere of the final season of Superman and Lois. And it's looking like...
Wait. We have to address this.
Oh!
Happy birthday, Penny.
Whoa. I think there's been a numerical mistake here. 63.
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was 36.
No. Yeah. You can't really be any older than 29, Penny. Seriously. Well, first, let me just say happy birthday to you, Penny. Seriously. You have been someone that has just been supporting us here on the channel and for as long as I can remember, and it's just great having you. So a toast to you. I've got my drink here. Raise a glass. Everybody raise a glass to Penny. Congratulations.
I'm raising my coffee. So
there you go. Raise what you got it.
And because we love you so much, Penny, we won't sing.
That that's
We
the
won't.
real present. That's the real present right there.
We won't subject you to that.
You know what? We should just play her a video.
Oh, do we have something that can do honor to the occasion? Hmm. You have put me in a delicate position, kid.
You know what? We will post one later on just for you, Penny, because we want to make sure everybody celebrates your incredible 36th birthday. So,
Oh, yeah. And in the meantime, we could say,
I'd buy that for $1.
that's good. Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, as I was saying before, the CW had their big announcement of the spring release dates for a lot of their shows. And one of the things that was released was the debut or premiere date for Superman and Lois. Let's see. So, according to their entertainment president of entertainment, Brad Schwartz, he has seen the first episode of Superman and Lois, and he says, according to the story from Deadline, I watched the first episode last night. Schwartz teased, "It will make you cry." Let's see. Superman and Lois is ending this season, and they are looking at a fall premiere date. And that was the big thing about the story. They didn't exactly have the Superman Lois dates. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what they had written here. But they are trying to make sure that that when they do have it premiere this fall, it's going to be something big. This will be their final time, and I think this is also the final Arrowverse related series. This is it. So when this show goes, so goes all of the Berlantiverse.
one can only hope.
Now, as an aside to that, let me also reveal that it's looking like the looks like the crew for the upcoming film Superman, formerly known as Superman Legacy, they are already in Ohio. In fact, they are in Cincinnati right now, filming scenes for the upcoming movie. It looks like they will be shooting scenes both in Cincinnati and in Cleveland, which is the actual home to Superman. Now, hold on. We had a question here.
Yes.
Gap After Dark asks, I haven't seen Superman and Lois. Is it worth watching and buying the DVDs? I'm pretty sure. I still have the CW app on my phone. So you can go ahead, I think, and watch previous episodes either on the CW app or on Max, which is the Warner Brothers service. And I'm not sure if it's on Netflix yet. But let me tell you, I have not been the biggest fan of everything that they've had in the Berlantiverse, aka the Arrowverse. This is one of the few things that I think is really good. And having not only just being a parent, but having been a parent to twins, which is part of the plot for this show, definitely is something special. I think everybody on this show does a phenomenal job. And it's definitely one of those shows that you can watch with the entire family and have fun with it. I think everybody in the cast is excellent. And if they were to turn around and say, we're going to do another 2 seasons, I would not be heartbroken. Again, this is nothing against James Gunn or anything that he's doing with the movies. But this is one of the few shows on TV that is just quality from beginning to end. And does some of it follow some of the Berlanti formula for a CW show? Sometimes. It's just what you have to expect with anything related to the Berlanti shows on the CW. But to me, and this is going to sound, unusual, but I think it's the best thing that Berlanti's ever put out.
Just a little detail here.
Yeah.
You raised twins, right?
Yes.
And you yourself are a twin.
Yes.
Right? So I would say that your parents at some point they just have said to themselves, "Oh, poetic justice."
Yes, that's and that's what it is. That's what it is. But again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the best job I've ever had. I can't really tell you what it has meant to me to really be a dad and to be their dad, and not to leave my daughter out because she's the youngest, she's my baby. But
I know that.
We just had National Sons Day here, and about 2 days ago. And while I didn't post anything on Facebook, I do want to take this opportunity to tell my boys that I love them dearly, and I couldn't be any prouder of them. They are just good guys, solid young men. So, yeah. So that's enough of me slowing the show down. But and you know what? I want to throw this out to my daughter too. I love you very much. I think she does listen to the show occasionally.
Oh, poor thing.
I know. But it's one of the things they have to accept about me being their dad. So. Anyway, but yes, Gap and anyone else, I will say that Superman and Lois is a really well done show. So you're welcome, Gap. It's part of why I'm here. And let's see, that was the first story that I had. Now the second story, some of you may, according to certain things that have been put out there, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but I like it. I really do find that I liked it. And this is about Netflix. They have made a decision about Avatar: The Last Airbender, their live action series. They have decided not to move forward with season 2.
What?
Instead, they're going to move forward with season 2 and 3 of the series. So that was the big announcement. It surprised the entire cast that not only are they renewed for a season 2, they are getting 2 and 3. Now, for those of us that have been following Netflix for a while that is happy news to know that we're at least going to get 2 more seasons, that bumps right up against the 3-season rule for Netflix.
Mm.
So I'm waiting. If season 2 can prove to be bigger than season 1, I think Netflix would consider an additional season beyond that.
Well,
So
I've heard um, some praise. I heard some complaints. I
yeah.
In my household, my 4 girls, they are all fans of the animated show.
Mm-hmm.
One that I know, one of them is watching. He started to watch the series. She's into like 2 episodes. It's not very convinced, but it's not. Uh, Her fandom doesn't feel offended. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think one of them is not watching it. Instead, they went back to the animated show, and yeah, I man, the fact that the original creators quit the show, citing creative difference, I think that
For the
that
live
could
action
be
version?
yeah.
Wow.
They have the original creators of the animated show working with them, and they quit, citing again creative differences. So let's see what brings this. Uh, but if anybody that is hearing us is a fan of the show, please let us know in the comments what do you feel about it, this new
Mm-hmm.
interpretation, and if you are enjoying it, well, I think you have been receiving very good news. And if you're not enjoying it fully, I think you may have some hope that it get better. I don't know.
Well,
So,
at least it's not Rings of Power bad.
oh yeah. No. No. Even the harshest critic says, well, I understand this. They should change this thing or that thing. This, but no, nothing like the vitriol that the Rings of Power rightfully deserves. So, no.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I watched it with my kids, the animated series. I think this is about as good as we can expect. Uh, uh, and I know the biggest sin is the fact that they're leaving certain things out. Again, I understand that. Some people are even pointing to certain cast things, and I don't get that. I think it's very well cast. I love the entire cast personally.
Yeah,
And
I haven't heard criticism about cast. Criticism about uh, acting. I have heard, but everybody it appears to be blaming the directors because everybody knows the actors and everybody knows they are good actors.
mhm. Look, they've done an excellent job with even getting all of the costumes to look almost exactly the way they did in animation. And unlike the movie, which, to be fair, and I know I'm about to get some hate,
Oh,
I didn't exactly hate the film. I understood that you're trying to do something, and you're trying to fit a story within 2 hours that lasted multiple seasons. And while it was meant to be something that had a bunch of sequels to follow, it's hard to pick where you're going to stop.
that's the M Shyamalan movie, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I have this weird sensation that there are two live action movies.
Only one.
Am I wrong? Okay.
Well,
I am wrong.
actually, there's one live action movie and then this series.
Mm.
Those are the two live action things. And again, I will say this. The creators of the show also participated in the live action movie. How much they participated, I can't tell you, but they did participate. I like it. Then again, I pick shows that I could watch with the family, especially my grandkids. And I could sit down and definitely watch this show with my grandkids. I can't do that with Star Trek now. I can't do it with Kurtzman Trek. Kurtzman Trek I cannot watch with my grandkids. Can't do it.
Why? It's such a wholesome. That show comes from the heart.
Yeah, heart is something. I just look.
So you're saying you could do a better Star Trek show? Is that what you're saying?
You know what? If they gave me the same budget that they have for Discovery, yeah, I could do a better show. Because I'd be smart enough to know who to get. But that's for later on in the show.
Well, my response to that is the sheer fucking hubris.
Yeah, even I learned something the other day about the actress who said that line. And hopefully, if a certain person that you contacted to be on the show today shows up, then we could probably convince him to tell that story again. But let's just say that there's a reason why she's not very happy with the people behind the show. And what she was promised as an actress versus what they actually delivered, which again, based on what I have heard from other people in the business that know people that work on a lot of the Kurtzman Trek shows, it's par for the course. It's part of how they do things. They tell you one thing and then flake out on you and do something completely different. I will not be surprised if another 10 years from now that somebody decides to write a tell-all book and you find out that it was just complete and utter chaos behind the scenes for the making of Discovery and a lot of the other Kurtzman Trek related stuff. But then again, I can't I'm not going to be distracted. I need to finish what I'm talking about, but we will get to that. We will get to that and other things. Okay. So,
okay.
Let's see. The next bit that I have here is we're going to jump to DC Comics. DC Comics is putting out a black label comic called Batman the Dark Age. Okay? And what it is it's this is going to be a comic that will serve as this comic will serve to actually reframe the character of Batman a little bit in a very unique way. Remember, this is the black label, meaning it's the off stuff. You can do anything in black label. Technically, that's what the Rob Pattinson Batman films are now part of their own version of black label. They are not part of the main DCU continuity. And here it's straight in from CBR. Sam Smith is the one who wrote the story.
Not the singer.
Yeah, not the singer, no. DC has given fans a first look at Batman Dark Age, which offers a unique take on the Dark Knight's origin story set among real-world historical events. Batman Dark Age will tell the story of Bruce Wayne as he evolves into Gotham City's protector, with writer Mark Russell and artist Mike and Laura Allred leading the story. The series presents Batman as a figure in American history and will also include other iconic characters from Batman that fans have come to know and love over the years. Batman Dark Age is set in a Gotham that is plagued with crime and turmoil as it heads towards a prophesized doom. And let's see. Preview pages for the debut issue show Batman in his prime fighting enemies across Gotham, while other pages appear to show a young Bruce Wayne before his parents head to Gotham Theater are are killed. Somebody need to proofread that. Are killed, and an older Bruce Wayne looking at a book. Batman Dark Age #1 goes on sale March 26th. Now, Batman Dark Age follows the path of the Eisner-nominated Superman story. The team behind Batman Dark Age has previously put their own spin on Superman's story in Superman Space Age, the Eisner Award-nominated story that took the Man of Steel back in history to the 1960s. The limited-run DC Black Label series ran from 2022 to 2023 and took place on Earth 203495b. Batman Dark Age's story is not a sequel to Superman's story, but it will continue Superman Space Age premise of taking DC's iconic founding heroes and putting them on journeys that span U.S. history and culture. Fans who missed out on Superman Space Age when it originally ran will be able to purchase a softcover collected edition, which goes on sale April 30th. So what do you think? Martin.
I have no faith left in either DC or Marvel. When you said Batman, the Dark Age, you said the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, so it's an omnibus of all that Tom King has done. Okay.
Something tells me Tom King's going to be a little busy for a little bit. I'm not saying he won't be contributing anymore to DC Comics, but I think he's definitely going to slow his creative output a little bit when it comes to the comic end of things.
Please. I mean, I have no ill towards him. I hope for him just the best. Many, many successes. Just away from the comic.
I hear you. It took me some time to come around to seeing that he was just he
Black,
good.
Black as it's you're right, but it's so sad and at the same time funny that we have to say this.
Yeah. It's low bar. But I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to this. Looking at some of the images connected to this comic, it looks like they're doing a spin on the version of Batman initially as he originally appeared in 1939 with a few adjustments. I kind of like that. That version of Batman is one that I don't think a lot of people have seen a lot of. And again, that version of Batman was really what Bill Finger had designed him to be, which is just a kind of a version of the Shadow, which explains the gun. And also, go ahead.
The thing is it's not the original Batman, but it's is there. It's Batman in the 30s, and Batman with a gun, and it's a chance for the people who doesn't know that uh, aspect of
Mhm.
the character.
Mhm.
But it's gonna be written by presentists.
Yeah. That's the unfortunate thing.
So they're gonna keep the aesthetic of the 30s, but the characters are going to talk and act like in the 2020s. Yay! Again, it's a speculation for my part. I may
Yes.
be wrong,
Yes.
but I don't think so.
I will give issue number 1 a look and see if they can get me. See if I can be tempted into looking forward to issue number 2. But it's Batman. So, and speaking of Batman and DC Comics, this brings us to our final story. Um, Black as. Never got into the Shadow, huh? I love the Shadow. I thought he was a great character. Then again, I like a lot of the pulp heroes. I like the Avenger. I like the Spider. I like Doc Savage a lot. I like the Phantom. Those pulp heroes I really got into. The just the way that those heroes were and what they did and some of the adventures. I think when you read the Doc Savage novels, you kind of understand where they got a lot of the basic ideas, a lot of the pulp novels really, but especially Doc Savage, you understand where they got a lot of the ideas for Buckaroo Banzai, both in terms of the movie, but also the novelization to the film is written in the same style that they wrote the pulp novels in, meaning that you would have all these. You'll find a word or a paragraph with an asterisk next to it, where you go to the bottom of the page, and it'll give you some additional information about said whatever thing that they wanted to point out. And that's what I loved about reading all the Doc Savage books, because they would make references in different ways of other stories. Well, they did that with the novelization of Buckaroo Banzai. That's one of the secret little things that if you didn't read the novelization, you are truly missing out, because you find out that while you were introduced to many of the Hong Kong Cavaliers, you were not introduced to all of the Hong Kong Cavaliers. There are characters, big characters, that you never saw in the movie. And that was the whole thing about, those of us that actually read the novelization in wanting a sequel movie, because we were wanting to see some of these other characters. And Reno's significant other, Reno, played by actor Pep Cerna, he is the Dr. Watson of all these adventures. He's the one that is writing all of Buckaroo Banzai's adventures. So whenever you see a novel or a comic, it's written by Reno. And even the new book, while on the cover it says it's from the actual creator of Buckaroo Banzai, it's really meant to be Reno, or at least Reno is telling him what all these adventures are. So, but it's great stuff. Again, if you're one of those people that wants something a little bit different but fun, Buckaroo Banzai, The Rocketeer, Captain America, The First Avenger, The Shadow, The Phantom, all of those movies come from the same place. And and Darkman. which was Sam Raimi's attempt to make The Shadow, because he wasn't given the rights to do a Shadow movie. Which, again, after watching both the movie that did get made and then what Sam Raimi did, I think Sam Raimi's Shadow could have kicked some butt. So, anyway, final story. This one is a financial story, but it's a financial story about something that you might be interested in, which is this. Turns out that Warner Brothers, as we will eventually learn, like Disney, has had a lot of financial issues, a lot of financial problems. And the only studio that's actually done worse is, as has been reported, is Paramount. Well, the stock price, the last time Warner's stock price reached a high, the highest it's ever been, was, let's see, it was March of 2021, and that was right in conjunction with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that was the last time that Warner Brothers stock was really super high. In fact, I think even Disney would like to see their stock reach that kind of height again. But that's kind of interesting that Zack Snyder's Justice League would be the last time that Warner Brothers Discovery stock was as high as it was. Do you play the stock market, Martin, or
No.
Smart man? It's tough. It is tough out there. Black Ass says sometimes Warner Brothers just makes you sad. It doesn't really make me sad. Again, the unfortunate thing for David Zaslav and Warner Brothers is that company had a lot of problems when he bought it. And I personally believe that the number of problems Warner Brothers had was it was even worse than what he thought it would be. And he's been trying to fix it. And I don't know if it's going to be that easy to fix it. You know, what makes Disney, what happened to them so bad is the fact they had all of these other checks and balances and sources of money. And they are still losing money hand over fist. I mean, realistically, if Disney was at least just trying, then it would just be Paramount and Warner Brothers that are suffering. But Disney has mismanaged themselves so badly that they are right down there with Warner's and with Paramount. Now, Paramount is still the worst of the three. But Warner Brothers is not doing as well as it should. And Disney's just got way too many problems. Now, Disney's on the cusp of probably trying to right itself, given the takeover, but the attempted takeover, or at least Nelson Peltz attempting to get on the board, I should say. If he's able to do that, it's still going to take some time for them to really turn that entire thing around. With Warner Brothers, I think they're hoping that they can at least keep things going for a little while longer. The success of Barbie and of Wonka, that's some promising stuff. And it looks like Aquaman 2 did a lot better than many people thought it did. So there's hope for Warner Brothers. You know, they just can't afford to mess up from this point on. You know, they really need to have a few more hits before they can start thinking about doing anything too wacky. Disney's just got to stop. They just got to stop. Right now, it's their problem isn't any other company. Their biggest problem is themselves. They're finding all these new ways to shoot themselves in the foot. And so the recent announcement by Bob Iger about getting rid of a few projects is really not surprising. Ironically, it's exactly what his predecessor was attempting to do. But, you won't hear Bob Iger talking about that. Well, that brings us, now that we've completed all these stories, that brings us to our main topic, which I've kind of already started, which is, for those that haven't heard, the word has gone out that Warner Brothers seems to be more than interested in Paramount, that they seem to be focused on Star Trek, and that there's a distinct possibility that Warner Brothers could just buy the entire Star Trek IP, which, if they did, would allow them to control it and use it any way they want. Most importantly, that means they get to leave Alex Kurtzman and all his people behind, which, in my opinion, is kind of good news. I mean, Martin, would you see that as good news? I mean,
there are news, at least. You never know. It always can get worse. It always can get better.
Mm-hmm.
We will never know until the thing has happened. But one thing is for sure. Man, Kurtzman has done a terrible job. We are in bad shape.
Yeah. Well, he's completely sabotaged that entire IP. I mean, he's just gutted the entire thing. It's sad.
The fan in me feels this is a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The cynical in me says, yeah, it can't get worse. Because we actually don't know who is gonna be put in charge of that. Yeah. Warner has done some things to try and fix and regain the public confidence, but I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I look at it this way. If you take a very rational, analytic look at the whole of Star Trek, it's actually pretty simple. Buying Star Trek means that you will then have the right to basically do whatever you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Meaning that, and again, to all you who are Kurtzman fans, I will say this. For those of us that
Not to a priest.
Look,
go see Jesus.
If you enjoy Kurtzman Trek, more power to you. But I'll tell you this much. David Zaslav is not going to put up with Alex Kurtzman. Having fits, stomping your feet, getting mad because you're not getting your way. David Zaslav, he wouldn't he wouldn't even need to pull out the axe. I would give good money just to see him slap the ever-living mess out of Alex Kurtzman. But I will say this. If Warner Brothers buys Star Trek, what you've got to understand, and what a lot of us who have been digging into this have been trying to tell you guys, Kurtzman Trek is not the essential heart of Star Trek. It is a offshoot, off-brand of Star Trek. Meaning that buying the Star Trek IP, Warner Brothers would be under no obligation to continue any of that stuff. So for the most part, it'll all just end. They won't out and out cancel it. What they will do is they will allow all of the shows to run their course and either continue to work on what little they have left and or whatever shows they're on. They will just allow it to just come to a conclusion at the end of their season. And that will be it.
Mm-hmm.
All Kurtzman Trek, anything attached to Alex Kurtzman will be allowed to just fade away.
Oh, do you know what would be beautiful? Seeing Zaslav say, well, do it, pull a Disney and say, well, everything between 2009 and here are legends. They are not canon anymore.
Well, there is a chance to do that, but it wouldn't be that surprising. Kurtzman Trek is not a part of Gene Roddenberry's original plan. So they're under no obligation to keep it going. Because if they do anything with it, if they even use a character, that means you've got to pay Alex Kurtzman. And I don't think Zaslav wants to deal with Alex Kurtzman. So what that means is Warner Brothers buys Star Trek. Kurtzman Trek goes away. No reunion shows, no movies, no more animation. It all goes. You know, kind of like the way Steve Rogers had to break it to Nick Fury in Winter Soldier. It's all got to go. And it will. Because David Zaslav doesn't want to give any money to someone who basically is, you know, that would be like if Warner Brothers were to buy Star Wars and you had people going, well, you have to accept episode 7, 8, and 9 and Kathleen Kennedy and all her ideas and Acolyte and all that. No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
No.
If you buy the rights to it, you can do whatever you want. So, Kurtzman Trek is just that. It's Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek. It's not Star Trek. It's Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek. And since he loved it so much, he'll be able to continue to do whatever. Thing is, the reason why Alex Kurtzman, the story is that I've heard that he's very upset about this because he realizes the party is coming to an end. From what I've heard, he's very upset because he believes that Star Trek has ruined his reputation within Hollywood.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, it is the other way around, but that's the way he sees it. That's really how far out of reality and out of touch he is. Given some of the stories that I've heard, people who have had interactions with him, people who were his boss when he first got into the industry, everything I've heard about this guy points to someone who is not somebody who you would at least like to work with. He's not made any of the money that he thought he was going to make from Star Trek because nobody wants to do a deal with him when it comes to merchandising on the level that Star Trek was prior to both Secret Hideout and Bad Robot. Prior to the both of them getting involved with Paramount and Star Trek, nobody wants to deal with them in the way that they had dealt with Star Trek before. So both of those companies have not really made any real money beyond what they had originally negotiated to actually do these projects. And I'm pretty sure that both JJ and Kurtzman both were thinking that they were going to start making money hand over fist when it came time to sell people T-shirts and action figures and all that stuff related to what they had. And they were surprised because nobody bought any of it. Partially because a lot of those companies decided they didn't want to make that stuff for them. So, yeah, you were going to say, Martin.
I see. I mean, there were companies that tried to do that for the first season of Discovery, but nothing said.
Actually, what had happened was all the companies who had been working with Paramount on Star Trek related stuff were part of a big meeting with CBS, and they were brought in and shown the pilot episode. And when the lights came up, every single company said no.
Well, they had a bad taste. They couldn't sell anything from Discovery, and from the 3 movies they moved very little merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I think the worst product was this phaser with personality problems that rotates part of it depending on what you want to shoot. Oh, that was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that was the greatest offender. That thing is collecting dust everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, okay, even if the show, or no, okay, the shows are bad. Nobody likes the show, but you can always whistle your way in with, oh, but look how cool these ships look. No, the ships look like shit, man.
And that's what all of the toy manufacturers were saying. They said, we see no toys here. We see nothing in this pilot that's going to make us money. And they told CBS that. And rather than listen to them as they were offering different ways to fix the problem, Kurtzman and CBS decided that the problem was them. And so they parted ways. So a lot of these companies, if you go back and look at all the merchandising work that was done with Playmates, all the toys they put out, the deal that they had with Star Trek The Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, I think they also had Enterprise for a little bit. Things are so bad for Kurtzman Trek. They didn't have as much merchandise for Enterprise, but Enterprise has moved a lot more merchandise than they ever have for Kurtzman Trek. And all of these companies were very adamant about the fact that they just didn't think the fans were going to react that way, meaning that, you know, they weren't going to invest any money because they weren't going to get anything out of it. They weren't going to experience any great profit. There was no profit to be had getting together with Alex Kurtzman and Paramount at that point. And lo and behold, they were all right. So, and it's been a struggle. I'm not going to lie about, you know, it's pretty evident that it's been a struggle for Alex Kurtzman and his people. But part of it Well, all of it really is their fault. You produce something good, people will respond to it. If you don't, they won't. It's that simple. But hey, again, Warner Brothers, they buy this, the entire thing is open to them. In fact, I feel bad for those companies that did do deals with Alex Kurtzman. Penguin Books, they're either gonna have to rewrite or do some heavy editing on some of the books that they put out. Those captain biographies that they put out.
Oh my, no.
Captain Kirk,
Yeah.
James Kirk's
Don't
biography, Mr.
don't
Spock's,
go there.
Mr. Spock's. Well, they were written to include the Discovery stuff with those. Well, if Warner Brothers ends up buying it, all that stuff's gone.
Oh, they don't have to be gone. As Disney, man, do what Disney did. get a big bin, write the letter, the word legends on it, and then dump everything there.
Technically, that's what they're going to do. Although my idea was to just say that it's a random timeline out there. Kurtzman Trek is just another timeline, kind of like the Kelvin timeline, and that way, all of the Kurtzman fans won't be as upset. You'll still be able to have books and comics if that's really what you want, although very few because they don't sell very many of all that stuff. You'll still have all of that, but you won't be seeing those characters probably ever again because Warner Brothers doesn't want to deal with Alex Kurtzman, and it looks like they don't really want to deal with J.J. Abrams. The only saving grace for Abrams is that his version of Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek has a very loose interpretation of those characters. And by loose, I mean loose, real loose. So loose that it's been next to impossible to get anybody to consider coming in and doing another movie. So, in the end, they're just whoever comes in is just gonna have to understand that they have two choices. They can go with how everything went before and try to attach what they're doing to the Berman verse. And from what I've been hearing, some of the discussions that they've had is that they're looking at restarting everything from the point of view of 20 years past Star Trek Nemesis. That's what I have been hearing. And that's part of the reason why Kurtzman is upset, because the deal, basically what it comes down to is he's not going to get paid because nobody wants to buy his Star Trek with the Star Trek brand as a whole. They don't want to separate that. They don't want it as part of it, and they don't want to buy it even by itself. Nobody wants it.
Oh, that's so sad.
And it's not so much that he's sad because, he's worked hard on these characters. He's sad because he won't get any money. That's really what all this has been about for him, and money. And don't get me started on Strange New Worlds. When I say it all goes, I do mean all of it will go. All of it. So, yeah, you know what? We will, on the other side of our break, we will have some fun. We will be talking about the possible teams that could be coming to help reshape Star Trek in the future. But first, check out this message.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
Vindicated Inc. For those of you who have yet to participate, this is just one of those things that I'm telling you, get in on this on the ground floor because you don't want to get left behind. Vindicated Inc. Okay.
Oh, look at what Jeebus said.
Monkey
Man,
Jeebus.
I would love to have James Cromwell.
James Cromwell is a great actor, but he's also a lot of years have passed since he played that part. Let's see, James Cromwell has not been a part of Star Trek since he made that cameo appearance on Enterprise. So I agree with you to a certain extent, but I don't think it's going to be possible to get James Cromwell unless you're going to want to tell a story about the end of his life. The end of Zefram Cochrane's life. Which, according to this, gets us in to theories and other things about Star Trek, fan theories that I think, in my opinion, make a lot more sense than what we've been given. Let's just cross right into that before I talk about the people that can bring it back. I've said this before on the show. There is a fan theory that Star Trek, as we know it, has already been altered. That the timeline that we knew has been altered. We watched it be altered.
Nah,
and
I don't subscribe to that.
And that none of us realized what we were watching when it happened. The reason why I subscribe to it is because it's the only way I think, if you do it right, it's the only way that you could undo the mistake of what was done in the final episode of Enterprise. And it's a way of bringing back a popular character from Enterprise, because unless you decide to do that, there's no other way you can bring that character back. But the other thing about it is that it helps to explain why Enterprise is the only portion of the Star Trek IP that is untouched by Kurtzman Trek. Everything else has been changed. And I do mean everything else has been changed. That's the reason why Star Trek Strange New Worlds, in my opinion, has to go. Because Akiva Goldsman believes that because they have the rights to the Star Trek IP, that means that they have the right to even change episodes of the original series. So according to Akiva Goldsman, when they do something on his show, Strange New Worlds, that is meant to supersede anything you may have seen on the original series.
He wish.
No, that is the way they're doing it. CBS is letting them do that.
Okay.
So that whole traveling back in time, doing the thing with, the change they made with Khan and Captain Kirk meeting a young Khan, and trying to get to know his granddaughter. All that stuff they did on Strange New. Yeah, it all of it is now the new canon. In fact, the version of the Enterprise that you see in Strange New Worlds is a different ship. They've admitted to it. It's actually bigger than the original Enterprise. It's a way bigger ship. But this is where the fan theory comes in. Because of the events of Star Trek First Contact and the fact that the Enterprise crew did not follow protocol when traveling back in time, they created a situation that altered the timeline from that point on and allowed for things to be altered, meaning that, like with Back to the Future, we have the timeline of Marty, Doc, and Einstein. When Biff took the almanac and went back in time and changed it, that's where you get Enterprise, and Enterprise feeds into this new timeline that gives us Discovery, Strange New Worlds, and all the stuff that comes after. And the reasoning for that is because they allowed everyone, the Enterprise crew allowed everyone who they came in contact with to keep their memories. When it came time for humanity to leave planet Earth, they left Earth with the knowledge that they are definitely not alone. Not counting the Vulcans. I mean that they have knowledge of very, very dangerous species out there. Unlike the original version of the timeline, which had humans be very hopeful when they went out into the stars, hoping to meet people, building ships that were of a certain size. Now you have an entire planet of people who are ready to fight back. And so they're building bigger ships, heavily armored and other things, which, again, might seem like it's minor, but it definitely changes the timeline. It also changes personalities somewhat, But you go from having Star Trek and its great ideas and Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and all that to Star Trek. The way Kurtzman Trek does it. So it's again, Akiva Goldsman likes to explain that the changes that they have made to Star Trek storytelling, to canon and all that other stuff is meant to help to improve and further the life of Star Trek as a brand. Translation, it allows us to make as much money off this stuff as we can, because now we can, we don't have to pay all the original people who worked on the original series. We can get all that money now. So they can write these characters any way they want and change who they are, how they are, why they are, and nobody could stop them. That's Akiva Goldman's thought on that, backed up by Alex Kurtzman. That was really Alex Kurtzman's purpose in changing Brian Fuller's original ideas for Discovery, which is to change it in such a way so that he could make as much money from the entire thing as possible. And that really is the reason why many of us don't like Kurtzman Trek. It's not done in the spirit of being fans. It's done in the spirit of greed and gaslighting of the fans. It seems like a Section 31 film might be in trouble. And if that film does not happen, I'm telling you right now, based on what I have heard about Alex Kurtzman, he will make us pay. That's the other thing that's come out about Alex Kurtzman. It is said that he has threatened to sabotage the entire thing.
Well, that's what he's been doing so far. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I know. I see. That's what I said. But no, he has threatened to truly sabotage everything. And my whole response to that is like, well, go ahead. Because it's not really going to take that much to actually get everything back to where it should be. It really isn't. But the other thing is certain actors may not come back if it goes back to being what it was before. Patrick Stewart might not come back.
Yeah. Good riddance.
Also, some of the other actors might not come back. A lot of the next generation actors, I think, might stay away. Might. Kate Mulgrew might not come back.
Good riddance.
But, I think it really does depend on who you get to run everything. And that brings us to this portion of the discussion. I am a big fan of showrunners. And I think the important thing is having a showrunner that first and foremost is actually a fan of the IP that you want them to work with. In this particular case, I can think of 3 showrunners that would be perfect if Warner Brothers were to decide to just move forward with Star Trek. Number 3, to me, is a logical choice. I think in the history of Star Trek, there are very few writers that have really brought a certain kind of quality to Star Trek that the moment that you see their name, you really understand that you are in good hands, and that what you are about to watch is just so good. So good. And I think that this particular person was also one of the few people that didn't start out with all the other writers when it came to Star Trek. He came from outside and joined, and that's Ronald D. Moore. Ronald D. Moore would be a near perfect fit to run a brand new Star Trek franchise. And to have him as the showrunner, to have him as the guy in charge, would it'd just be amazing. I'll tell you this much: the possibilities of what they could accomplish with Ronald D. Moore, mind blowing, and given what Ronald D. Moore's what he's been able to accomplish just since leaving Star Trek. He's built up a nice fan base. He's created some content that people really love. He is just, he is a Peabody Award winning writer. Shows like Outlander, For All Mankind, and of course, his the show that really just got him on everybody's radar was the successful revival of Battlestar Galactica. And this is a guy who wrote some of the best episodes of The Next Generation in DS9. What do you think, Martin?
Okay. You're tilting me over to optimistic side. But still, I have to see it first. I won't
understand.
Be duped again.
I understand, but Ronald D. Moore is someone who's not playing, those games. And he's definitely one of the people that Alex Kurtzman would never reach out to because he's a way better writer than Kurtzman. Oh, wait. Cam says, because canon doesn't mean anything to these idiots, and of course they are more creative and socially aware than those old people who made these IPs popular. Good one, Cam.
Okay, let me address this.
Okay.
If you have to see everything first, then you'll never have anything to say. Well, that is false. I will have anything to say after I have seen it. And yeah, I understand what you're saying. But man, I've been burned since 2009 on everything that I like. Consistently.
Yeah.
I'm done with putting my expectation on people who clearly doesn't know what they're doing, or even worse, they're doing it out of malice. But I don't want to be the Debbie Downer of the show. That is why I don't say I don't believe anything you said, motherfucker. No, I'm still giving you the benefit of the doubt by saying I will watch it first. Then I'll know. Then I'll say something.
Okay. That is very smart, my man. That's very smart, Martin.
Wow, Chinatsky. Well, I do like the ending because apparently nobody got that. Oh, well, if the show had a weak point was the fact that you really had to see the original series and understand some key points of that series.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can appreciate the ending of BSG. If it weren't for that, I would have gone like, what is this? But since I know the first series well, I saw when I saw the last episode. Oh, this is reflecting this and this and that, and I like that. But it's a mistake, to be honest, because if people don't, if your audience doesn't know the previous series, they're not gonna get it, and
Yeah.
that is not a wise writing choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you in this one, Sinatsky. I don't know why they are going to do a second remake. Why? Let it be.
Universal.
Huh?
Universal likes making money, and also everybody that did the quote unquote more recent version of Battlestar Galactica, they've gotten kind of, they're older now, a lot older. It's not possible to do it, and plus, given the way they ended that series, there's no more you could really do. You'd have to go back in time to do something quote
Mm.
unquote kind of new. And they would rather not do that. It's just easier to get a younger cast, preferably a cast that isn't going to cost you as much. So you can save a lot of money in that respect. Now, I agree with you guys. I really don't see the logic. I really don't see the need, I should say, of going back and doing Battlestar Galactica again. But, we don't have the power to stop Universal from spending their own
No.
money. So, now
I'll watch it. I'll watch it because I don't know if I'll watch it completely because if I don't like it, I will drop it in a heartbeat. but I'll watch it
okay,
just to see what they did because man, BSG was a surprise for me.
it was. I don't think anybody really expected to be what it was.
Yeah,
You know,
I certainly did it. I was adamant. I'm not going to see that. Look what they did to Starbuck and blah 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 blah. And then I saw a picture of a viper and well, the viper looks nice. uh, um, and I don't know. No. Years pass, and then I finally watch it, and then man, was I pleased.
it's good stuff. It was good. It was well cast, well
Really good.
written. It was just a great show. Which brings
Now,
me. Oh, go ahead.
my daughter, she refuses to this day to see it because she had such a crush with the original Starbuck. And then they said, "No, they took him from me. I'm not watching it."
I get it. There are a lot of people that had a lot of problems with that particular thing. But again, I think Ronald D. Moore and David Icke did such an amazing job in writing those characters and getting them to, even with a lot of the changing of the sexes and other things, I didn't mind it as much because it was a solid, well-told story. That brings me to my second choice. Okay, Ronald D. Moore was number 3. This is number 2. My second choice, as far as who I would bring in to show run a brand new Star Trek series, J. Michael Straczynski, the guy behind the mastermind behind Babylon 5.
And some very, very nice comic, like Superman Earth One.
Yes, he was behind. Let's see, he was also behind the show Jeremiah, the Babylon 5 spinoff, Crusade, Sense8.
Oh, that show Crusade, they did they did it dirty, man. I was so pissed when they canceled it.
Yeah.
They did something akin to what they did to uh, Firefly. No, the show with the Joss Whedon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they aired the episodes in the wrong order and
Yes,
everything.
yes.
Man.
Yeah. Yep. Well, again, Fox was notorious for doing that, you know, because they did that with Firefly, but they also did it with the show Almost Human. And,
Oh, the one with Carl Urban.
yeah, Carl Urban's
Yes,
Almost Human was shown slightly out of order. And so that's part of the reason why, I mean, people would watch the show and then you come back next week and see something that doesn't make any sense. You know, it wasn't you. It was the fact that they were showing the episodes out of order. And then they admitted to it. Fox admitted to it later on. So, but J. Michael Straczynski, because he continues to create, he continues to try to be innovative. But on top of that, he is a die-in-the-wool Star Trek fan from way, 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 way back. I like the fact that he is someone who can be complex and then turn around and just be funny and poignant at the same time. If you enjoyed what he was able to do with Jeremiah or Sensei or any of the other projects that he's been a part of, including but not limited to Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Ooh,
and
Captain Power.
Yeah, that's his. The 1980s Twilight Zone that was on CBS. That's also J. Michael Straczynski. And Ghostbusters, the animated series. The animated Saturday morning cartoon. That's also J. Michael Straczynski. So, and the first Thor movie is J. Michael Straczynski. He wrote the screenplay for the very first Thor movie. So, you know, he's got the experience. But, you know, I just think the world of J. Michael Straczynski. I do. JMS is a very talented guy. And I think it would be one of those great honors to have grown up as a fan of the show and to get the opportunity to create a Star Trek series.
I'm with you. He would be a good choice, but I am going to bring some heat on me one more time.
Okay.
I like Babylon 5 more than I like Star Trek.
Hey,
and I like Star Trek a lot. And I don't want anything that can distract Straczynski from the reboot of Babylon.
And that's the thing. That's the reason why I put him at number 2 and not number 1. Because he still has his reboot that he's considering. But if Warner Brothers decides not to do it, I think J. Michael Straczynski should consider just becoming the showrunner of a Star Trek series, which is part of the impetus for him creating Babylon 5.
Yeah, but I prefer him working on Babylon.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaking love Babylon. To me, that is very, very close to perfection. And when you hear the creator say, well, I really want to do it like I really, really wanted it. That was what? I need to see that.
I know. 5 seasons. He ended up writing more than half of those episodes. I think you really don't have to worry too much with J. Michael Straczynski as your showrunner. He will find an interesting way to tell some great stories.
I'm still curious who will be cast in for those roles, because man, those actors that they made those characters iconic. I mean, I I don't want to be the one that has to fill out Andreas Katsula's shoes. No, that is a bar way too high. Keith?
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm I agree. I agree. I still look, I like J. Michael Straczynski because he can just basically do anything. He is that writer that can just basically do anything. And there are so very few writers that are that capable. You know. Now it's time for number one. My number one pick for show running Star Trek, if it happens to go to Warner Brothers.
Seth
And
MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane made my he made my honorary
Emergency one.
list. he made my honorary list. He if I had the top 5, he would have been number 4. But
Who could be number 5?
who would be number 5?
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 5 would be number 5 would be someone who's currently very busy because he's got his own TV shows. But Tim Miner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know before I'm stalling before your big revelation.
Oh, okay.
I know. I know he has gone a little out of the reservation and everything, but I think Jonathan Frakes could be a good choice.
Jonathan Frakes would be a great choice, but he's a little too. I don't know. There's just something about him right now. I think he enjoys. I think he enjoys being a part of other productions. You know, I think he really does like doing that. Show running is different than just coming in and being a director, a hired gun to do occasional episodes. So.
Wow.
I would.
Okay, Gap.
Okay, Gap.
Okay.
Okay. I like Jonathan Frakes. Let me put it to you this way: I like Jonathan Frakes. He's probably, out of all the actors in the Next Generation, I think he's my favorite. I love the character of Riker. I like the way he plays him, but I wouldn't make him showrunner. I wouldn't do that.
But I think Frakes understands Star Trek better than the other actors.
Yes, he does. He at least knows how to work. You know, I mean, he was able to work on Picard season 1 and turn around and do episodes of the Orville during its first season. So
his movie, his Star Trek movie, was very good. Well, I liked it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so who's number 1?
Number one choice would be Brian Fuller, the guy who basically had his opportunity taken from him, technically, by Alex Kurtzman. Brian Fuller is a talented man. He also, like JMS, he's also a big Star Trek fan. In fact, again, he got his big break in the Writers Guild being a part of Star Trek. And he's someone that I think started out working low man on that totem pole and worked his way up to eventually becoming a writer because of working with Gene Roddenberry and the writing staff they had. So you got to understand, years later, he's contacted by CBS, and they want to allow him to create a Star Trek series. Well, of course, that's big news. That fits. I mean, think of a dream. Every child that has ever had a dream, whether it's becoming a firefighter or a jet pilot or a doctor, and you're given the opportunity to do it, and then at the 11th hour, somebody comes along and takes it away from you. That's exactly what happened with Star Trek Discovery. And what made it worse is it not only got taken, it got taken and changed. I keep telling people, if you can go onto the dark web and find the original Bible for Star Trek Discovery, it'll make you even madder, because there was so much potential with the way he had those characters and some of the ideas for episodes. It was the version of Discovery that actually worked, that people actually liked. And we got that taken from us. Thank you, Gap. So there you go. You know,
Nice choices. Well, I prefer not to dwell too much on that, because at the end of the day, we don't know who will be put in charge. Oh, there's so much promise in this. I just hope. But
you just hope.
I just hope things get better, man.
Well, one would.
Really hope.
One would think that it would, because it's Warner Brothers. You know, this is a whole new thing for them. They're not just saying yes because they think it's going to be easy, but I think it would work out a lot better for Warner Brothers and for Star Trek as a whole to go with a different company that can truly appreciate what Star Trek actually is. Because again, I'm not going to sit here and say that there weren't people who didn't, you know, there weren't people who liked Discovery and Kurtzman Trek. It's just that there are not enough of you Kurtzman Trek fans to make it worth it to continue to do this. It's all costing money. And while CBS hasn't been like Disney with Iger making those kinds of bad decisions, they've made a lot of bad decisions. Okay, technically, Kurtzman should have never gotten the contract extension. There was, looking at the numbers for Discovery, Strange New Worlds, all of these other shows, middling at best. You know, these were shows that were not made to be successful on network TV. And they weren't. Star Trek Discovery did get an opportunity to be seen on CBS television. And it so happened to be the worst show on TV. Period. Up until they did that with Discovery, the worst show on TV. That was Batwoman. And we all know how Greg Berlanti's Batwoman turned out. So to have a show so bad that reruns of game shows beat Batwoman, and when CBS decided to show Discovery, Batwoman did better than Discovery, leaving Discovery at the bottom of the list, getting beat by Batwoman, game shows, or reruns of game shows. I mean, that's got to be embarrassing, but you know.
Wait. We have to do this.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
Good morning.
Good morning, Zach. Always good to see you. I hope you're feeling better.
Anyway.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. Cam has something to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't care what you look like or who you love. Tell a comparing story that honors canon, has internal verisimilitude, and is well acted and shot. Perhaps I'm asking too much. You're not asking too much, Cam. That's very well thought out and written. That's exactly what a majority of us fans have been saying. I could give two shakes what your pronouns are, what you want to be called. I could give two shakes about any of that stuff. Just tell good stories. The thing about it is the person who CBS decided to leave as their person in charge, the best person they have, is just not that good. And none of these people care about Star Trek. So anyway. I will say this also. And I know this is going to be also controversial. There are two other names that I can think of that would get an honorable mention. The first name is Kurtzman's ex-partner, Robert Orci. I would put him as a showrunner on a Star Trek, any Star Trek, before I'd even give Kurtzman the opportunity. You know, again, it's another example of someone having grown up and I'm just going to say it, okay? I've been trying to find a way to couch this, and there's just no easy way to say it. Joss Whedon.
Oh,
yeah.
And I thought that I could brought heat up upon me. Man, you just painted.
I know.
A big bullseye on your back, and on your front, on your forehead. Oh,
see, I told you.
Shenotsky's not gonna like in this.
So
I don't know. I don't know if Joss is correct for Star Trek. I don't know.
He'd be better than who we have right now.
Yeah, but it still wouldn't be the right person. Well, now if you give me Gap's choice, okay, Whedon, not Wheaton.
Wow. Wow.
Ooh,
I
just
know.
Whedon.
I know. I know.
Ooh.
But you know, in my defense, in my defense, when you look at the width and breadth of what Joss Whedon has been able to create, you bring that over to Star Trek, and you definitely got something. You know, that's a winner. But oh,
I don't know. Whedon. Ah, I think he's too juvenile in his style.
okay, okay.
Hmm.
I know.
Well, at least he knows how to handle. Uh, oh, what's the word? Ensemble casts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Well.
except for Justice League. Everybody hates him.
Yeah, I look. That was bad. That was bad. But oh, jeez, Joss. I just
Well, I think in Justice League, the pressure he was put on, he couldn't handle. He didn't handle it well.
well, yeah, being
A lot of pressure,
being asked to try to come up with a way of plugging in a lot of holes that
and it has to be yesterday.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, look. Looking at everything I said, even with my controversial picks, still a lot better than what we're getting with Kurtzman Trek.
Oh yeah.
That's my saving grace right there. You know, I tell people all the time, even with Kurtzman's ex-partner, Robert Orsi, look at what he was able to accomplish. Look at what Joss Whedon was able to accomplish. Look, Joss Whedon was so good at what he did. You have the current generation of people who are running Hollywood right now who can't create anything worth anything. And the only thing they believe in is themselves.
Mhm.
I seem to be at a loss for words sometimes this morning. Joss Whedon, Roberto Orsi, those two guys definitely are not easy people, but they are talented. And in the case of Roberto Orsi, Bob Orsi, I personally believe that he did a lot of the heavy lifting while Kurtzman was doing what Kurtzman does, which I can't tell you what that is. But these are all very talented names, very talented people, very capable people. I'm also of the belief that you can go out and get a lot of celebrities who are also Star Trek fans. One of the things that we learned in the aftermath of The Next Generation is that they came very close to having some big names on the show. You know, one of the biggest Star Trek fans and someone who was literally just big. I get in the 90s, let me put it to you this way. In the 90s, you had Joss Whedon was pretty much ruling everything with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And what a lot of people within the industry didn't realize is that part of the reason why he was so good was he was not only a third generation writer, he's a comic book fan. A majority of the best ideas that he got inspiration from comic books, namely Spider-Man comics. That really is the character that was used as the base skeleton for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he still hasn't, he still wasn't able to do everything that Ditko and Lee were able to do in creating Spider-Man, but he did enough. And he put a lot of, personal work into it. He has a way of writing women. And a lot of that he was able to own while working on Buffy. It became a part of the style of his working whenever he would work on any major projects. I think he could do something really remarkable with Star Trek. But I'll say this, I don't think he is the world's biggest Trek fan. So I always go back to an interview with Joss Whedon where he was asked what TV show he watches. This is during, that time when he was working on Buffy. And he thought about it for a moment and he put it out there. It's like, well, he has one show that he has been following without fail. And that was Aaron Sorkin's The West Wing. He became addicted to that show. If I were to ever read, though, that Aaron Sorkin was a big Star Trek fan, I'd put Aaron Sorkin out there. Maybe Sorkin can run it. Just think of some fans just lose their ever-loving minds if Sorkin did a Star Trek series. But I think everybody that I picked, my top 3 are people that I think would be the best at doing it because they have the perfect balance of talent and being fans themselves. I just genuinely believe that you've got to have that mix. If you don't, there's no magic. And I believe to a certain extent that's really what it was for Ronald D. Moore in Battlestar Galactica. You have to be enough of a fan to want to do something like that. So anyway, I guess we're coming into the close of the show, everybody. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and letting me ramble for quite a while, but also to get a few people's hopes up high about the future of Star Trek, which I believe there is a lot to be excited about in that instance. I don't think Warner Brothers is a bad place for it to go. It's better than staying with Paramount, which is much more of a sinking ship than any other company currently in the business right now. And it's way better than Disney. Way better than Disney. Think of it this way. Can I bend your mind for a moment? I just want to do this. I want to, especially Hugh Martin. Okay.
Okay.
Let's just say that the announcement is made today that Paramount has sold Star Trek to Warner Brothers. They go with J. Michael Straczynski, and Straczynski offers a brand new Star Trek series. Okay? His own version of Starfleet Academy. He'll be working on a Starfleet Academy series. And the first person he announces having been cast on the show is Bruce Boxleitner. Do you think every Star Trek fan would lose their minds?
I don't know if every Star Trek fan. I would. That's all I can say. I would, because, man, Bruce Boxleitner. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, Captain Sheridan. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
The thing is, he's never done it before. I don't think he's ever been on any Star Trek show before. So it would complete something that very few actors get an opportunity to do. In fact, I can think of 2 cast members of Babylon 5 that have actually been on Star Trek.
Bye, Penny.
Bye, Penny.
Enjoy.
Have a good time. I can think of 2 cast members of Babylon 5 that have been on Star Trek. So that leaves, a few other people that can make, cross over and do something kind of cool. Yeah, that would just, I think there is so much more to be gained by starting over with someone completely new who was completely enthusiastic and into trying to create Star Trek, honestly, and it being something that the fans can embrace and enjoy, rather than thinking about ways of lining their own pocketbooks, lining their pockets because of, the potential sale of toys or whatever other merchandise. JMS is someone who is a fan, was a fan growing up. I'd like to believe that really about a lot of the people that I named. But he is the biggest fan, I think, next to Brian Fuller. Brian Fuller, it's just a dream job. And that's the reason why I think it's been a nightmare scenario for him all these years with Kurtzman Trek, because it's constant. It's a wound that can't easily heal. He got asked to do this incredibly hard but very fulfilling job, and he goes to San Diego Comic-Con, and for the first and only time to meet with fans and to hear firsthand from them how excited they are to see a brand new Star Trek series. But to also understand that this guy who's doing it's one of them. Total geek, total nerd. And on top of that, he still is an out and proud gay man, Kurtzman isn't. Which is, again, I've never understood that about the people who have always argued with me or come at me about the whole Discovery thing, when I'm able to throw it in, out there that Kurtzman he's not really, quote unquote, of the cause, he's friendly to the cause, but he's not of the cause. And that him getting hired to do that meant that a lifelong Star Trek fan who just happened to be gay lost out on living their dream. I mean, that had to be the hardest thing, is to walk away after doing all that work. And he did a lot of work. So much so that Kurtzman couldn't get his name removed from the credits. I'm not saying he tried to remove his name. I'm just saying if he had wanted to, he couldn't get his name removed. So, that's something to consider, everybody. Anyway, James Caserta, Penny, Zax, Gap After Dark, Cam's Crash Courses, and every single other person within the sound of my voice, including Shinatsky, because, Shinatsky is cool like that. And Monkey Jeebus, because Monkey Jeebus is really cool like that. Dragon Roos, Connie Cleary, and who else?
So I have a list for you in the private chat for your convenience.
Oh, okay. And that's about it. Yeah. But that's fine. Hopefully all of you had a good time today. Hopefully I've made you think about a few things, consider a few things. Again, Bruce Boxleitner, Star Trek. Think about it. Yeah. Well, I want to wish everyone a good and happy Thursday. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can follow us, Pop Culture Minefield, on Facebook, Instagram, really on all the fantabulous services they have out there. X. I think you can even find us on Rumble. Oh, and this weekend, for those of you who are looking for some excitement or something fun, don't forget to support your local comic book shops, your gaming stores, definitely your local bookstores and or libraries. Don't forget to tell them that Keith sent you. And also, if it happens to be the right weekend for it, your favorite local, air quotes, conventions. This weekend, I think, is Planet Comic Con, Kansas City. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, I almost forgot. One last thing. Mainly because Martin's going to hate me.
Oh, I couldn't.
Oh, yeah, you are. Because as I'm heading out the door, I'm going to do this to you. Okay? Now, I want you to know, first and foremost, I'm not trying to be mean, but yeah. Everyone, I've done it before on this show. There is a company called X06. And the last time I did this, I revealed to Martin that X06 had a Savick coming out. Remember that one?
Oh, how can I forget?
Well, X06 has a brand new figure that they're getting ready to put out. Kira Nerys from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And let me tell you, it looks exactly like the actress. I mean, even the costume is amazing that they have on this thing. So check it out. Google it. XO6, EXO6. Major Kira. You're going to like the look of that.
Let me put in the chat the URL that you sent me, because I'm not the only one who's gonna suffer.
You don't want to suffer by yourself. Okay. I get it. I'm down.
Okay. And there it is. Really, go see it. That it's awesome. Well, everything that company does is awesome.
I'm telling you. There's something about this that is just amazing, and the way they do their figures.
They're teasing a T-pole figure.
Yeah. I didn't want to do that to you.
After Kirstie Alley.
Anyway.
And yes, this is the other link. Thank you, God. Well, I think we have done our job for today.
We have done our job for today. So, on behalf of myself, my good buddy Martin here, for whom, without him, none of this is possible. Have yourselves a really, really good day.
See ya.